Left wing, right wing.
No, you just whip it out and wing it back and forth.
What the hell is it? What the...
You heard what I said. Did I stutter?
You didn't stutter.
Nope.
I kind of wish that you did.
You didn't stutter, but you
probably
got to watch a hat trick from Brandon Sutter.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, that took far too long to get out, unfortunately.
Hey, yeah. Okay.
I thought I'd start the live session with a bit of a
late night innuendo.
Oh,
well, there was a three-way today.
There was a three-way today. Yes, there was.
God.
Then the Blue Jays made a trade. The Blue Jays are just interrupting everything.
Yeah, they got someone, a pitcher from the Mets or something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just get notifications from Sportsnet. I do not give a rat's ass about
They got a guy named
football,
Mitch.
basketball, or baseball. I just don't care. All I care about is this right here.
That's fair. That's
Yes.
completely fine. That's completely fine.
And let's go.
We are
Started off as a PG podcast, but then Devin just kept on dropping shits and fucks, and
I'm just trying to figure out what's in her mouth.
I just want to see him interview Francesco Accoli.
No, he's a good human being, is what he would say about himself. I'm sure.
Who's hosting this thing?
Take charge, Kevin. Would you? Jesus.
First time we ever met those guys. That was the major drunken pub argument.
I think you guys are the worst.
I'm gonna have to probably watch some Canucks hockey, unfortunately.
Just making friends left, right, and center, and probably some enemies as well.
tell him to shut up. He needs to hear that every once in a while.
Off to a good start.
All right. We are live.
It's okay to talk when it goes live.
Yes, it is. And did you notice that this time I beat you, Heidi? This time I waited. You didn't interrupt me. I finally beat the computer. Welcome to the Hockey Podcast. We are live on Facebook.com and YouTube.com, the Hockey Podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at podcast_hockey. You can subscribe, like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, and subscribe to wherever you get your podcasts. As the audio will be up shortly after this show ends. I'm feeling like I'm saying that with like a lack of confidence, and I don't know why. Actually, I do know why. I would be, okay, full disclosure here, under the wheel here. I was up at 4:15, did my news shift from 6:30 to 9:30 at Evolution 107.9. Then recorded a podcast this afternoon. No, wait. I had a class this afternoon that went a couple hours. Then recorded another podcast for another project that I'm doing. And now that watched the hockey game, and now this. Someone pat me on the back here.
No, I can do
it. Whatever. Anyway, how are you doing? How's Sean? Sean, how are you doing?
I actually get to answer this and say I'm doing well this time now, Kev. We've had a couple. Finally, the Canucks have shown up for a couple of games, and it feels good again.
Yes, it caused smoke in the arena. We'll talk about that later. Devin, how are you?
I'm good, Kev. I'm good. Had some issues with the Gordo, but she's doing good. So
good.
Yes.
And you made it through your split personality week.
It's so hard. It is so hard to watch those games. For those of you who don't know, I love the Leafs and I love the Flames, and they've just played 2 games in a row, and I get caught up in it, and then I'm realizing what the hell I'm doing, and it's just like it's just complete and utter chaos. Honest to God.
and then there was the drama of Matthew Tkachuk which may or may not have helped your split personality. We'll get into that in a little bit. I actually have a rant about that.
Surprise.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes. Anyway, let's start with the Canucks. They won tonight. They won 5-1. 2 goals from Tyler Mott, who has 5 goals this year. He has, I just want to repeat that. Tyler Mott has 5 goals this year.
It's insane. Like the Canucks have had a weird start to the season, and but the line was slow until tonight, but the last couple games, the bottom 6 has come to life, and Tyler Mott's been playing quite well throughout, and it's just nice. It's nice to see him get it, especially tonight on their Hockey Talks game, getting a couple goals for and to help raise awareness for mental health.
Yeah, it was. Go ahead, Devin. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, Mott has been playing out his mind. He's been driving play. His possession numbers are off the charts in consideration of what his entire career has been in the NHL. So yeah, it's a good night for him, and I mean, it's been a good start to the season overall. So, and especially like Sean said, with raising awareness for mental health, he's gone through a lot, and he came out last year and talked about it. So it's kind of fitting.
And then the Lotto line finally produced points, and I hesitated from saying getting together. I don't think, like, I'm going to be a little different here. I know Pettersson has been the root of some frustration because he's come across very frustrated and he doesn't look himself. But I've always been of the belief that I don't think he was as far off as everyone said. I felt like he was getting chances. It just wasn't going in for him. And tonight it did.
He was getting some chances, but he was also him and Miller specifically were squeezing the stick a little too tight and making mistakes and bobbling the puck when they normally wouldn't. Most of that went away tonight after getting they had the one power play where they didn't score, but it felt good. Like, you could tell they built momentum off of that. Sometimes with power plays, you're not going to score, but you're going to do everything but. And that's what they did with that first power play tonight. And their confidence grew from there. And when Miller got his 2, and then Petey adding one of his own, you started to see the swagger, the confidence really start to come back, and that's when they're very dangerous. You saw Petey's man, the stones on him you're on a 2-on-1, turning into a 3-on-1. You're in a goal scoring and point producing slump, and you make that drop pass. Like, that takes a lot of confidence, and seeing him do that just made me know that he's still there. Like, he may have looked frustrated, but the Petey we know and love in terms of what he does on the ice was still there, and he's definitely prime for a bit of a run here, I think, in terms of getting back on track point production wise.
I gotta say, I haven't watched every single minute of Canucks hockey, but tonight Miller, he was the driving. He's the one that stirred that line the most. And what was really noticeable was, I believe it was his second goal. He gained the offensive zone. He got hit, made a play back to Hughes, and then went straight to the net and or into the high slot for what he tried to tip, and then I can't remember exactly what happened, but he got the rebound from his own shot or his own tip, and then he put it away. And it was that really showed that he had enough of the bullshit of not doing well, of not playing well. So having that type of player on your team and on your top line, having him as a driver, it's just it's good for Canucks fans. They can breathe a sigh of relief right now, and hopefully they can build on it going forward here.
Yeah, I mean, it's entertaining to hear JT Miller say "fuck me," but I mean, it's also nice for him to.
Yeah, I was about to say the Sportsnet won't be getting a CRTC complaint after this game. Unlike Monday's game.
Yeah, no, they yeah.
We're going to be hearing a lot more of that the way this season's going, especially once things get a little more chippy.
Yep. Yeah. It's interesting because the temperature is generally up. Like you can really feel it. Like it's more intense. Like even someone who observed that on Twitter too is, last week it was Canucks Twitter was on an explosion. The week before the Oilers Twitter was on an explosion. It's a lot. Everything is a bit more heated in general. So in terms of what the expectations were. But the one thing I also, I know that we had a debate about goaltending, but Thatcher Demko, I mean, especially this first, let's be candid here. The first period for the Canucks was terrible. That was awful. And Thatcher Demko kept them in the game. And funny enough, the Canucks scored the first goal, right? So they never trailed in this game. So as bad as it looked, and I think it looks like Demko is kind of getting his sea legs under him a little bit. And, it's looking like Demko can be the guy to ride the Canucks for the most part. Although I would suspect we see Braden Holtby tomorrow.
Oh yeah, we're definitely going to see Holtby tomorrow, back to back. I know they have confidence in both. They have confidence in both goalies, and it's nice to see that. But having Demko step up and get both these wins and look good in both games, especially the first period tonight, is a real nice surprise for Canucks fans to get that and the lot of line running within the net these last two games, and to get going and hopefully finish this off strong tomorrow, and then go on this next road trip because Ottawa is. We're starting to see that. Yes, Ottawa is going to be a pesky, hard team to play against, but you got to get those wins. Like doesn't matter who you play, you got to get the W's, and even if you use them to gain confidence and get out of a slump, that's even better. But yeah, get the W's, move on, and hopefully that we look back at this and this is the turnaround of the season after what was a very sluggish start for the Canucks.
Devin, did you have anything to add? The only other thing for the Canucks I wanted to discuss. So Olli Levy scores his first goal ever in the National Hockey League, and he's sat for Jalen Chatfield. What did you think of that? And what did you think of the pairings? As Jordy Ben was with Quinn Hughes.
Jordy Ben he played a lot. He played on the right side when he was in Montreal, and it looks to me like he's a lot better of a defenseman when he's playing on the right side. I don't know why. He's a left shot guy, but you
got to hate that, Sean. I can see you fuming. You got to have the left side with the left-handed shots, and you got to have the right side with the right-handed shots.
You got to have some sort of balance here. But my issue is that I don't like having too much of the offside guys. I don't mind having one in your, but once you get to two, it just the balance isn't quite there. It's the same thing as the Canucks second line. That's all left shots. They're making it work and they're looking really good, but it's just, again, as you said, it's not I just don't like it. And but talent, if you can make it work, then it's good on you. But
I love how you finally have that take now that your team has something like that and it's actually working.
Well, I never said it can't work. I said it concerns me, and it still concerns me on the Canucks. But
All right.
and it looks like I'm gonna have to get used to it, because even once Pearson's gone, Bud Colson's coming in, and then he's another left shot. So I'm gonna have to get used to this. And they've got Nate Schmidt and Jordy Ben, who are left shots that are really good on the right side. But to get all the way back to Chatfield versus Hugh Levy, Chatfield looked good. He looks solid. He's not trying to do too much. It sucks for Hugh Levy, who got his first NHL goal last game, to go from that to a healthy scratch. But that's just the way it is. And they switched Schmidt back to the left side, so that again they didn't have too much of the imbalance with that and the pairings. And I like the pairings. I like Ben with Quinn Hughes. He's doing a lot of the things that Chris Tanev did in terms of being the safety guy for Quinn Hughes, and he was doing it better than Hominick was to begin with, and he was doing it better than he's just been the best option for Quinn Hughes throughout this season. So you keep that together going forwards, and then you've got what was it? They had Chatfield with Schmidt again, giving Schmidt a stay-at-home defenseman so he can focus in on driving play up the ice, and then you've got the old man pair of Edler and Myers, and just hope that their veteran experience and will make up for their foot speed issues at times.
God, watching, I don't know what's happened with Edler this year. I'm sorry. Every time I see him playing, this year it just doesn't seem like he's quite there, or he's not the same Edler that he has been in the past years. On the first goal when they let Norris, just bang away twice, and the second time he actually got the goal, and we had Brandon Sutter there as well. They're just looking at him. Like,
yeah, so that one's on Sutter.
What are you doing?
That one's on Sutter because he came back all the way. He came back all the way. Like you look at that.
Edler needs to read that too, though. Like it's on both of them.
All four of those guys was bad, but Sutter was on the goal line, and he should be at the high forward taking away that. So
he boxed out Edler, so Edler needs to compensate for that. Really, like honestly, you have a square of Ottawa Senators players. Even the defense was up on that play, banging away at the puck. Take him in. Oh God, that was embarrassing. Oh, being a former defenseman, that drives me fucking insane. Like seriously, that's one of the biggest pet peeves. Is like, look around, figure out who you need to be taking, and take that player. For the love of God.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's talk about tomorrow. Do you panic if the Canucks do not get 2 points tomorrow?
No.
Nope. It's too early in the season. As much as it is condensed and every point matters, no. There's too much up in the air with this North Division and basically in any division. It's very tight, and yes, they are very important, but no, you don't panic.
Okay.
What do you think, Kevin?
I wouldn't say it's not panic, but I do wonder if one of the differences that we look at the end of the year is your record against the Ottawa Senators, who we've acknowledged as the 7th place team. So if, I do think you want to get as many points as you can against the Ottawa Senators.
Yep.
I don't think you want to leave any on the table. But I don't think it's panic.
It's not panic, but it's you got to get as many points off of the Sens as you can in this division. Currently, the only team that has lost to the Sens is the Toronto Maple Leafs. But you gotta do it, right? Yeah, if they can sweep this, it looks real good. If they don't, as long as they keep the play go their level of play up, and maybe they get a little unlucky, I'm not worried. If they go back, if they revert to what they played like before this, then I'm worried. It's more about the process right now. you definitely need the results, but it's still more about the process still.
Yeah, you got to build the positives and make sure that your team is trending in the right direction. Sometimes you're gonna shit the bed, and sometimes you're gonna win. And yeah, you want to win those games against the Ottawa Senators of I guess that's pretty much it. Just the Ottawa Senators of the North Division here. But the reality is that team isn't going to lose every single game, and they are an NHL team and they can win games. So you can't sleep on them. I mean, look in the first period, they outshot the Canucks 24-10, something like that.
And 23-7.
23-7.
Yeah, 24-7.
No, they took a shot away actually.
Oh, did they? Oh, damn!
Yeah.
That was a good number thing.
Well, it was 20. That was if it stayed 24, they would have tied the Senators' record for most shots in the first period. But what I'm getting at is that you can't sleep on these guys. They're gritty. They're young. They have nothing to lose here and everything to prove. So it's those are the teams you got to look out for. And yeah, you definitely can't sleep on them. So as long as whoever is playing the Sens are trending in the right direction, that's all that really matters. And that'll be the Canucks tomorrow to see whether or not they can build off this.
The Senators have had spurts of times that they've played really well, and then the tires just fall off on them. Like at some point, against Winnipeg, it was tied, and then they collapsed late in the third. Monday, the wheels fell off right away, and even tonight, the wheels fell off in the second period. They had a great start in the first period, and the wheels fell off, and that's the problem. If they can stay with some sort of consistency, then they have sorry, Kev. It's attributing to one player and one player only. It is Thomas Chabot. If it wasn't for him, man, they'd be winning every single game. I can guarantee you that. He is the worst player ever in NHL history. Period. That is amazing considering that this team has Eric Gudbranson on it.
Eric Gudbranson, all-star. Come on.
Chabot has not looked good in these two games, though. That's going to happen. He's literally the only defenseman that you look on Ottawa and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do. Like everyone else is just like all props to like Christian Wolanin, but other than Chabot, like that's not a very good blue line, and that's the biggest issue for the Sens. But they just got to keep plugging away. They've got some good kids coming up through the ranks. They're very young up front. They're going to have good games and bad games and be inconsistent until they can figure it out, especially when you're lumping them all together on one line.
Yeah, and once again, Chabot almost played 25 minutes, just 2 seconds under 25 minutes. And then you look at Quinn Hughes at 22:37. So take what you want from that.
Both over 20 minutes. Like if you're over 20 minutes as a defenseman, you're doing a good job. Or that's what the coach trusts you. Let's just put
Alex Edler, 21, almost 22 minutes. Great. Yeah. Tyler Myers, almost 24:35. Okay. Yeah.
Oh. Well, obviously there has to be some sort of trust if he's playing him.
Yeah, right? Trust is the better word, not good. I got a little tongue tie. Yeah, if the coach, if you're getting over 20 minutes, the coach trusts you. So,
I got to preface this that almost 6 minutes of both Myers and Edler were on the PK. So, yeah.
I just want to toss this in. Because this will transition us very well into what our next topic is. Where's Brady Tkachuk?
I thought he had a decent game yesterday. He's in the middle of everything as a Tkachuk is, and when you're a young team and you don't necessarily have a veteran presence, especially on your line, I think you can get lost running around a little bit too much. This is why the JT Miller pickup was so key. Not only is he a top line player, but he has that ability to help the younger players, even if he is a bit of an asshole at times.
Well, he still shoots the puck a shit ton. He had 6 shots last game. He had 5 shots a game before, but he's not hitting as much. He had 1 hit in both of these games against the Canucks, and I think that's where he's more effective. I think that's where he needs to take a page out of his brother's book and being a bit more of a pest, because that's how he's going to be successful in this game. Is playing that gritty game instead of because I think he's shouldering too much of the downfalls of the Ottawa Senators and the fact that he can't score, and so he's trying too hard there. But if he just sticks to his game and what has got him here, and that is being a gritty power forward, he'll be successful. But I think right now it's just getting too much in his head.
And that line was still one of their best lines out there, and we're on the positive end of the shot attempt metrics. So it's not like it was the Lotto line for the first few games of this season where they were getting buried. They're still getting their chances, and that's why you have, as tomorrow is going to be interesting, because they're not going to roll over. This team's not going to roll over, and you can't have a start like the Canucks had tonight for tomorrow's game. You can't give them life. You got to get a couple goals and hopefully that'll demoralize them enough that you can come out with 6 points out of this 3-game set.
Yep. Yeah. I like Drake Batherson. I think he's played really well. I think there's some real. I think Tim Stützle's doing pretty okay. Like, if
that forward group had a defense,
oh yeah,
they could do something. But it's just that blue line is not anywhere close to being good enough. You have Thomas Chabot, and then that's it.
Yeah.
So
maybe they could clone Thomas Chabot. Who knows? Anything else on this that we need to discuss?
Like I said, just really, really happy to see Tyler Mott get a couple goals for the Vancouver's Hockey Talks game. Nice to see Petey and a lot of lines start going, and hopefully we can. The Canucks are going at when they go out east. It'll be a lot less painful than the homestand before this 3-game set.
Yeah, I'm just going to rant about this now. Could someone please explain to me why Winnipeg has a 9:00 game again on Saturday night?
Late game.
Yeah, heaven forbid that the people who live in Toronto don't want to sleep in or stay up late. Oh, anyway.
At least this one makes a little more sense because it's Vancouver, so it's 7:00 Vancouver time. The one on this past Saturday was like ridiculous because it was 9:00. It was 9:00 Winnipeg time, local time, and then 10:00 for Ottawa fans. Like,
I can't see how Leaf fans are like, man, yeah, no, the game's at 10. Sorry, I'm gonna go to sleep. Like, I'm not gonna watch them. For like on Saturday. Like, where are they going? They can't go anywhere in Toronto.
Very true.
Which leads to I think we need to, before we get into how the Leafs looked and the Flames looked, we have to talk about the drama. And we have to start with this picture that went viral on the interwebs. Went viral everywhere. You can see it here. Matthew Tkachuk, late in the 3rd period of Sunday's game, went to the net, and his knee definitely hit Jack Campbell. It wasn't like to be clear, this was not the injury, because it looks like that was the injury before, but it doesn't look good. Am I being diplomatic there?
No, it doesn't look good. Listen, we all know Matthew Tkachuk. We all know that he meant to, anytime that he gets bumped in front of the net, he's going to go straight for the goalie. Whether or not that's whether or not he wants to injure him or not. Okay, it's in his DNA. It's who he is. He's a pest, and whether or not he wanted to injure him by going right on top of his head. Who knows? As long as he gets contact with the goalie, if he gets bumped from behind from a defense or whatever, that's all he's doing. That he's just stirring shit up. So anybody who thinks that wasn't on purpose, give your head a shake, because that's we all know who Matthew Tkachuk is, and I am a huge Matthew Tkachuk fan. Obviously, I cheer for the team, but like realistically, he did what he wanted to do. But I truly believe that I don't think he wanted to injure Campbell more than he was. So yeah, I don't. I just don't think that it's really. Yeah, I don't know. I'm rambling now. Go, please.
Tkachuk's done a lot worse things than falling on a goalie. It just was how he did it that just made it look a lot worse than it was. And actually didn't. I don't think it even hurt Campbell. Like I said, he already had a hurt leg, and I'm not exactly sure what it was, but it was his leg that was hurt, not his back or head. But yeah, it was just the way he fell that made it look a lot worse than it was. It wasn't there were, as Devin said, it was intentional to fall on Campbell because that's what Tkachuk does, but it wasn't an intent to injure, as many people were calling it. And it's, I don't know. I was surprised that the Leafs didn't take care of him right then and there. As a former defenseman, you touch the goalie, you're going to have to pay the price. And I was surprised that A, he wasn't handled there. B, nothing else happened in that game, and or C, they didn't do anything about it in the game yesterday. But as we get farther along, we're going to see some fireworks out of these two teams coming up in late February.
Devin, what did you think of them not doing anything with Tkachuk?
Am I surprised? Yes and no. The Leafs have never been a retaliatory team. They've never really had the truculence, as Brian Burke calls it, having that grittiness. And they brought in Wayne Simmons to kind of bring that along a little bit more. And they do have Bogosian on the back end there as well, who can fight, he can hold his own. And he was actually the guy who pushed Tkachuk off of Campbell. So I'm with Sean. If somebody touches my goalie, they're going to pay the price. So I was very surprised that no one stepped in there. But once again, you kind of saw at the end of the game there with the incident with Jake Muzzin, how Muzzin really handled it a little bit.
Before we get to that, I guess for me, I think I almost was like, I see what you're saying. Like, I think like after the play, I could see that. But to me, they almost let Tkachuk, they almost didn't let him engage in the game as much on Tuesday as he would have been if they were trying to, I'm going to pardon the word, Oiler him. They just played I think playing their game and just almost ignoring Tkachuk's antics. They got off to a great start and they ended up winning the game. So they focused on what they needed to do. So to me, that's a good thing.
Well, that's been their mantra for the past 3 years now, is that they're going to kill you with the power play and they're not going to retaliate. So it doesn't surprise me, like I said, that they didn't do anything. But should they have done something? I think they should have. And that might be the dinosaur in me talking old school hockey, because it's sad that it's kind of going away a little bit from where our roots are. And yeah, I just think that, yeah, you want to beat them on the scoreboard, but you want to beat them on the scoreboard and you want to beat them physically. So I still think that there is a lot of time for this to build and snowball into something a bit bigger, especially with you have 7 games left against each other. And, it's a little bit of a pity that it's going to be till late February. I believe it's February 22nd they play next. We have to wait till then to see. So I hope to see fireworks then. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't think that it'll happen.
Tkachuk's got a long memory. You know he's going to file this away, and we'll see something.
Well, Eric Francis thought this was something. Let me do this. Let me do this. Here we go. This was last night. Yes. Near the end. We'll take this back here quickly. That's part of it, but we'll just go right from the beginning here. I'll mute that. So there it is. Tkachuk okay, so the puck's thrown at him. Tkachuk loses it, and then Tkachuk loses it, and there we go. First of all, did you think Muzzin did anything wrong?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he did. It's after the game. That's all. What he did was offside, but it's he out Tkachuk's Tkachuk, and that's what's hilarious about it. Like it's one of those innocent things that is offside because it's poor sportsmanship or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, he definitely did something wrong. But it's, I don't know, it's entertaining for us like Tkachuk haters or non-Flames fans. I don't know if they're the one and the same, but it adds entertainment, adds flavor, and that's what you're going to get with these 2-3 game sets. You're going to get some of this color and flavor to these matchups, and have little things like that happen.
I dislike it a lot. I don't think I'm a Flames and Leafs fan, and I did not like what Jake Muzzin did there. I think that was classless. I think that was it warranted? You can draw your own conclusions to that for sure. It's just the game's done. You beat them, and it's just little salt in the wound. It's like while someone's down, you kick dirt on them kind of thing. I don't know. It leaves a bitter taste in my mouth personally. And I like this rivalry goes back to Tkachuk's first year because Muzzin was Drew Doughty's defensive partner, and they've had it. And I mean, if you've been watching it all for the past 3 to 4 years, it's been Tkachuk and Doughty back and forth here. So I think that it's been brewing for a while, but I think it's just it's a hard thing to watch somebody do that, to be honest with you, just because of the poor sportsmanship attitude behind it. There is behind it. And I knew, Tkachuk is going to put that away, and he's never going to forget that. And he's going to wait for his opportune moment. And I can almost guarantee you he's going to take a couple of rounds of Muzzin, and then they're going to have to drop the gloves and have at her, I think.
I guess I understand Tkachuk's frustration. I don't know if I was very impressed with how he kind of let it out. And I think that's partially because of what happened, but I also think that I also think in theory, maybe Devin can correct me wrong, but this is sort of what I was thinking. That was partly the play, but I think it was partly the frustration of the Flames losing that game that they got back into, but didn't end up winning. And maybe he saw some old habits come back into this organization that got him frustrated after that Dallas playoff exit. There seemed to be more there. My point is I think that was more than the puck.
Yeah, it's more than puck. This is the reason why we love Tkachuk, or one of the reasons that we love him so much, is because he's a passionate guy and he hates losing. That's been his mantra for ever since he's been drafted, ever since he's been in junior. And those are the people that you want in your team and want to do everything that they can to make sure that you get the win that night. And he's one of those players. So yes, it boils over in that sense too. But once again, Muzzin took advantage of that. He knows the passion that runs through Tkachuk's veins, and putting salt in that wound by chucking a puck at him. Yes, it wasn't hard, but it's enough to just push you over the edge, because I'm sure if I was in that situation, I would have done the exact same thing, and I probably would have been suspended back in my day. So I don't know. Him going down the slamming the gate, going down the tunnel, being upset. I'm personally okay with that as long as he doesn't hurt anybody or accidentally hurt anybody, because there's that whole Keith Ballard thing of getting upset.
Thomas O'Koon.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So as long as he's, I'm okay with people showing emotion and color, because I think we're lacking that in today's game.
Yeah, you're talking to two guys who probably would have reacted very similarly if that happened to them. I don't know if I would have gone full on like just crazy going down the hallway, but definitely in the dressing room, I probably would have chucked a couple things. But yeah, like I said, he muzzing out Tkachuk at that point, and was it classless? Yes, but there's a lot of things that Tkachuk has done that are classless.
Oh, come on. I hate that statement. I got to tell you, I hate that statement. He out Tkachuk wouldn't do that. He would not check a sauce. Maybe he will now, because he knows that he can get away with it, because Muzzin got away with it. But I don't think that's... He got
a penalty.
Muzzin?
Yeah, he got a 2-minute unsportsmanlike penalty.
What the fuck does that do at the end of the game? That does shit.
Was it 2 or 20? I thought I heard 20 somewhere.
Well, he probably got a 2 and a 10.
Yeah, most
likely. But either way, that means fuck all. It just that's complete and utter bullshit.
Yeah, I guess for me, like, Tkachuk does some antics, and if he does them, you sort of have to expect it back a little bit. So within
the game though.
Oh, right? and I don't want to get into too much of this, but there's definitely times when Tkachuk takes it too far.
Oh, man.
I think he has taken it too far at times, for sure. I think that there have been times he's been a detriment to the team. I think he's trying to learn to be better about it, but there's been times he went too far. Didn't Brad Treliv enforce Matthew Tkachuk to come to the media and basically apologize after an incident? Was it 3 seasons ago
that he got suspended? Season. Yep.
So he does have a history.
Well, that's a kid though compared to Muzzin. Muzzin's been in this league forever. Tkachuk, he's learning where that line is, and Muzzin, he completely crossed it in my mind. When it comes to unsportsmanlike conduct, stuff like that, I have no time for it. But if it's within the game, yeah, Tkachuk, he finds that line and he follows that line the entire way. And yes, he crosses it every once in a while, but I still don't believe he would do that, especially now. Well, maybe now, like I said, maybe now he'll do it because he knows he can get away with it.
Well, the Leafs Nation was certainly applauding Jake Muzzin for their things, and Eric Francis got ratioed for his tweet, calling it Bush League. So,
I agree with them. I think that's complete Bush League, but yeah.
Yep. So, but looking from the Leafs' perspective, they did not. That from their own perspective, they didn't feel they played great Sunday. They got off to a great start yesterday. 1 shot on goal for the Flames. They let the Flames back in, and then they ended up winning. They're now in first place. Where are you with the Leafs? Are they the best team in the North and everything is hunky dory, or is there things to work on? Did the Flames let a few points get away?
They definitely did. That first period was absolutely terrible. But I don't. Okay, hold on. That first period was frustrating to watch because the Leafs shut them down. They didn't let them in the defensive zone, and when they did, they collapsed in front of the net. They were blocking shots left, right, and center. Nylander had a blocked shot. You never see that in the first period. And like that neutral zone play was textbook. It was amazing to watch from a Leafs perspective. And I sent out a tweet saying you don't have to worry about the defensive zone because they're not even penetrating that offensive blue line to get on the attack against Anderson. And I applaud them for that. Are they the best team in the North? I think so. And that's not with having my rose or my, I guess, blue bud colored glasses on. I think that as of right now they are, but God, that can change within a game, within 2 games. They could go on a slide easily enough. And that's where the mental game kicks in. You need to be mentally strong within this season, within any season, but especially within the season, because it is just a sprint to the finish. So, the Flames, they let 2 or 4 points slip away, and they could have pushed it if they actually played 60 minutes. And that's going back to the Flames. That's their problem. That's been their problem for the past 5 years. It seems they can't play a full game. And that might be the detriment to this team. And I don't know if they're gonna be able to push past it. If they do, they're right up there with Toronto. But if they don't, God, it's going to be a long, long season of watching the Flames not put in 60-minute efforts, and teams are going to take advantage of that.
Yeah, the Leafs are close. I think in terms of who's the best team in the North right now, I think it's them and the Habs. I think you can make an argument for both. The Habs haven't lost a game in regulation, and they've got 2 games in hand on the Leafs, and they've got the same. They've got 2 less points, but they played really well as well. So right now, I think you can make that argument. But as Devin said, it can change within. I wouldn't say 1 game, but in like a set of 2. The way this season goes, you lose 2 games to, say they go and lose 2 games to, I don't know who are they playing next? Is it
Edmonton?
Toronto's going to Edmonton. Yeah.
So if Edmonton takes 2 from them, Montreal is able to take 2 from Calgary, and then that swings it for Montreal, right? So it's and again, all you're doing is you're just handing points to division rivals this every time you lose. So I think we're going to see some swings in terms of how fan bases, teams feel this year because of if you lose one of these 3 or 4 game series against a team, that can drastically change how you look on the in the standings.
The other thing from the Flames perspective too, and why I brought up the Canucks getting extra points from the Senators, is the Flames have games in hand, but you're now climbing a mountain, and you're kind of in a bit more of a must-win territory because you need to get these wins to get ahead of everybody. So I don't think that you can afford to lose 3 in a row. That's why I think tomorrow's game against Montreal, the wherever you're watching, the Thursday game against Montreal is huge. You do want to win that, because I think you got to stop any losing slide as quick as possible.
You definitely do, and you're going to have these breaks like Calgary just did, right? You're going to have those 5-6 game or 6-day breaks in between games. Toronto's is after these next 2 games against Edmonton. They play Saturday and then don't play again until Thursday. And you got to sit there and hope and wait to watch the North Division and see how it really just kind of figures itself out, because you're just gonna be watching these other teams just racking up points. As you know, if you lose those 2, that's a long time to wait to get back at it.
Yeah, and it's not even just winning games too. You got to win them in regulation, because point management, right? You can't give points away. So anytime that you have a team scoring late to tie it up, that's just it's going to be a killer.
Yeah. I wonder if there's going to be some interesting strategy later in the year around that, where some teams might like pull the goalie and take a bit of a risk to make sure that they get the 2 points and leave the other team without 1 and get those regulation wins. Maybe that's something I was just thinking.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know about that. I think as far as strategies for Calgary, they need to get David Riddick in net. That needs to happen. within these next couple of games. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts tomorrow. I think he should personally, or find out when Carey Price is starting, Jake Allen whenever he's starting, and put him in net at the same night.
Why? I personally would probably go back to Markstrom tomorrow, but I'm hearing a lot of Riddick. I think you need to get Mark. I think if the Flames won yesterday, I would be more inclined to play Riddick on Thursday. But I would probably go Riddick Thursday, or Markstrom Thursday, Riddick Saturday.
You have to get Riddick in for one of these games. The next two for sure. He hasn't seen game action since
February.
He hasn't even started a game since February, right?
Yeah,
because he didn't even start a game in the bubble, right?
Yeah, he came in. He came in during a game when Talbot was shit in the bed. So whenever that was, I think that was against
that was the Dallas game. Yeah.
So you absolutely need to get him in, because otherwise, the longer it goes, just
the one other thing I know. I mean, I know it's not a crowd game, but Montreal has not played at home for 10 months. This is their first home game in a long time. So I think they're going to be out guns blazing. And that's why I would also start Markstrom, because I wouldn't want to put Riddick in that. I don't know how I would feel about Riddick in that position. I would feel more comfortable with him on Saturday, but we'll see what they do.
Yeah, I guess within that quote-unquote home opener, they probably will start Carey Price. So, yeah, I can see your reason behind that for sure.
In terms of other lineup changes for the Flames, would imagine I imagine that Levo is going to sit one of these two games, or Simone are going to sit one of the.
God, I hope it's Simone. I just have not been impressed with him with Johnny and Monty. I think it's more so the chemistry is not quite there. It just seems like they're on separate pages as of right now. I really like Levo's game. He was actually the sixth man when they pulled the goalie at the end of the game against Toronto last game. So I don't think Levo's going to be the one that's going to be sitting out, but I could see Simone getting sat, and it sounds like Dubé, if it was a playoff game, Dubé would have played last game. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see him tomorrow.
Yeah, it'll be either, maybe you're right. Sorry, it might be Simone or Nordstrom that sits.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing, it's hard when you have this center depth, but I do want to see Backlund get more ice time, and I don't know how you do that. Just because I feel like you do need a little bit more from him, and he can bring a lot to this game. But when you're not getting the ice time that you're normally getting, it's hard to get in that rhythm. And I feel like they're as much as we've really talked about the past couple of years, how we've been missing more depth down the middle. I feel like we somehow get him going, because he's beneficial to this team.
It's interesting you say that. I pulled up the ice time stats, and 5-on-5, him and Lindholm are basically playing the same amount. So it's been Monahan who's got the significant advantage in ice time 5-on-5, and then those other two are about 4 or 5 minutes back.
Well, it just doesn't seem like he's there, and I don't know why. You notice Lindholm more, you notice Monahan more, especially this year. Monahan's been I think, played very, very well, and obviously they're on the 5-game point streak with him, Gaudreau, which is fantastic. But I just feel like we're missing something here from Backlund, and I don't know what's going on with him. If this is just his, if he's just slowly going downhill. I don't think that's the case, but there's just something missing with him, and I don't know what it is. I just don't see him on the ice.
Well, this is, I think it's his first year without starting with Tkachuk on his wing for the past few. Right, they've been a pair together for pretty consistently. So, and it looked like they were going to try and pair him with Mangiapane to build a third line, and they've kept rotating wingers. So I wonder if that's an issue as well.
I suspect that Backlund and Mangiapane will be back together when Dubé gets back. So that will help. And probably the wingers with him haven't been great. Like Lucic has been okay. I think Bennett's been okay. But yeah, those, I think just he hasn't had solid wingers. That's the other part of this as well. In terms of defense, do we see any changes?
Valimaki and Nesterov had a hard game last game. They were exposed multiple times. Valimaki, a couple giveaways. Nesterov got caught just puck watching, and there was an odd man rush going the other way a couple times. So I don't. Once again, I feel like you should give Shillington a bit of a shot here. If maybe give that bottom pairing another game just to get get their feet under them a little bit more, have a little bit of a bounce back if they can. But if they can, I wouldn't be surprised if they change things up for the second over there in Montreal.
I think they need to find a way to get Gio a little bit less ice time, though, too.
Oh my God!
You talk about Edler not looking good. I think Gio has struggled the same way.
He definitely has. This is his downfall, and this is his falling from grace. It's been the past year and a half. He didn't look good in the bubble. He looked okay before the COVID shutdown, and my biggest thing is that his mental game is still there. He still feels like he can do the same things that he did 2 years ago, but it's not quite clicking. And one of my biggest pet peeves with him is anytime he gets the puck at the point, he puts his head down, looks for a shot, and he just goes for it every single time. And I can't stand it because there are better plays out there, but he just put the blinders on and he goes. But his defensive game is still there, I believe. But anything outside of his defensive zone, I'm not confident in him. And so I agree with you, Kev. I think that we did see him on the power play halfway through the game. They took Anderson off that first unit, which I don't know why. Trying to spark something, I guess. But I truly believe that less is more for him as of right now.
They need to take him off the power play, period. It's time for Hannafin and Anderson to get shots on the power play. Hannafin's looked really good for the Flames. Him and Tanev have created a pair that's really strong. And I think it's time to start riding the Anderson and Hannafin for the power play, and that will help alleviate some of the ice time with Giordano.
Yeah, that pairing had a strong game. They were all over the puck. The amount of times that I saw Tanev at the top, right in the middle of the offensive zone, was I can think about 4 times where he's just up there with the puck, and I'm like, is this what he does?
Yep, that's what he does.
I thought he was the defensive specialist, but he's up there shooting the puck, and Hannafin was shooting it everywhere else too. But yeah, sorry, Sean, go on Tanev.
Yeah, he's not afraid to jump up. Tanev's a defensive wizard, but he's not afraid to jump up. And remember, he scored the overtime game winner goal in the bubble versus Minnesota, and with that amazing celebration in the locker room with the team. But he's not afraid to step up.
Yeah, Tanev, I dare say if he's not been the best, he's been damn close to the best Flame so far this year.
Yeah, for sure. I've been pleasantly surprised with him. Just keep on trucking the way you are, Tanev. You're a fucking beauty.
Yeah, he's been great. Anything else with the Flames we need to speak about? Let's get to the other quick NHL news. Jim Rutherford resigned. as general manager for the Pittsburgh Penguins, citing personal reasons. I don't know what those personal reasons are, so I will not speculate, but that's a huge loss for Pittsburgh, who's off to a pretty good start, and a guy that has contributed, has built a pretty strong foundation there in Pittsburgh.
He's a finisher GM. He's one of those guys you bring in when you've got the core, and he'll find ways to surround them with the right people, and get that and get you deep in the playoffs. And he's got, I think, he's got 1 or 2 rings with Pittsburgh because of that, and I think he's got 2, and I think he was the GM for Carolina as well in 2006. So he knows that part. He's done a good job keeping that team competitive, even though they can be a little top heavy at times.
Yeah, obviously, best wishes to him. Hopefully, he's okay. They did rule out it's not COVID related; it's just personal reasons. So his health is perfectly fine. But all the best to him, and hopefully we see him back here at some point, because God, he's a trigger finger when it comes to trades. He's never really satisfied with his team, and he's always been able to make able and wanting to make trades. And it's a damn shame that if this is his last stint in the NHL as a GM. But yeah, hopefully we see him back.
Yeah, hopefully. Sure. Any other? I don't think there's anything else really to talk about.
Unless you want me to gush about Kevin Bieksa on the broadcast again, because he was pretty good tonight, taking things away and from Jeff Merrick. Like you said, who's hosting this thing a few times on our show here, but Bieksa really took over there a couple of times, and it was quite hilarious.
Yeah, he keeps adding personality to, and every time he's out there, and yeah, he's been the star for sure.
That and the Ask the Panel segment before these games is pretty cool as well. Yeah, especially it's got some new things, and I think they've got a pretty overall good package. A much better package, I think, than they've had for years with this. This is probably their best year of like bringing in an overall entertainment package.
Yeah, it's been really good. He is the star of the show. Yeah, I love him. I as much as I disliked him as a player, I respect him as a player, but I disliked him a lot. I'd say he's even better as a in the studio on the broadcast. So we're watching something bloom into maybe even I would dare to say intermission between him and Ron. Kind of not replacing Coach's Corner, but I could see him potentially stepping into a role there for sure.
I at that point, I don't want Ron to be there. I want it to be someone younger, like Amber or Merrick, someone who's a little who can go with Bieksa a little bit, and I think Merrick would fit that role really well.
I wouldn't mind seeing a Bieksa Jennifer Botterill panel at some point in time.
That would be good too.
We have a few comments here. We'll just quickly run through them here. Do you agree that soccer is for babies and hockey is a tough guy sport? I like soccer.
I'm a huge Liverpool fan. Watching Bayern for Alphonso Davies, love it. It's a great sport. I don't think we should be bashing it. Hockey players are just a different breed than everyone else.
They're a bunch of diving babies. Damn it!
Oh, stop! We're gonna go dive. Great win by the Canucks. We've discussed that. We discussed this on Saturday. But Dylan asked, don't know if you guys talked about PLD and line trade or run thoughts if it hasn't already been done.
I got something to add though. I read a article yesterday about Laine and why he wanted out. It was because he felt like he was being bullied by Wheeler and Scheifele. And take that for what you want. him being a soft player. These younger players are all soft, and they need to be a bit harder in the heart and in the head. But I thought that was very interesting, and I think that who knows whether or not him and Torts are gonna jive together, considering he is a hard coach. So that's gonna be something interesting to watch. But I think I think it's great for both teams. I think it's a win on both ends. I think Pierre Dubois is going to do wonders in Winnipeg. Whether or not he stays after his contract, well, probably not. But if they win a cup or if they come close, then he might. Who knows?
With Wheeler and Scheifele and Laine and all that, it seems to me there's our way or the highway type mentality with those two, Wheeler and Scheifele. And if you fall in, you're good. If you're not, then you get a little bit of you get a rough ride. It's not a little bit. You do get a rough ride. And like I said, make of it what you will. I think Dubois is going to be a great fit. I think he's probably going to be a long-term fit there too. I think he just wants to play hockey. He wants to be a star. And even though Winnipeg's not necessarily a quote unquote big market, you're still going to be a star in Winnipeg. What else do they got? They got the Bombers and the Moose. You're a star in Winnipeg. He'll find a way to enjoy it enough to make it long term. What I said in terms of that trade was it comes down to Jack Roslovic for me. Yeah. If he can become a second line center for Columbus, then it's a huge win for them because you're getting an elite sniper and a second line center. But if you're trading away a number one center for an elite sniper and a third line center, then it leaves things a little more up in the air for me. So it comes down to Jack Roslovic and how well he performs for Columbus going forwards.
Yeah. Don't forget about that third round pick, man. I know it's a third round pick, but there's been some gems in the third round or later, so that's a part of it as well. Sorry, Kevin.
Nope. I'm kind of the same. I think it's depends on Roslovic to me, and also depends on a lot. I mean, I'm just going to keep this in people's mind. Laine could still be flipped here. There still could be a trade for Laine. That would not surprise me in any way, shape, or form. We've already talked about if Torts and Laine are going to get along. I think Jarmo knows that. I think Jarmo has a speculation on that already, and I wouldn't surprise me if there's another flip at some point in time. But
that being said, Torts was able to make things work and keep with Panarin, right? The only reason Panarin wanted out is he wanted to get paid a lot and he wanted to go to a bigger market.
Yeah. And if Laine is willing to work, willing to play the game, Torts will be fine. It's when you don't want to engage is when Torts turns on the tort.
For sure, and I said this on the other podcast too. Winnipeg was very close with Philadelphia in a trade with Provorov and Konechny, and there were some others obviously involved with that as well. But there's teams that want, surprisingly, that want a sniper like Laine who can shoot that puck. Because God, that first game, oh my God, that goal that he scored over Anderson's shoulder. Oh man, no one's gonna stop that. It was beauty. So yeah, Kev, I totally agree. I don't think, maybe even Pierre Dubois. If things don't go well there, I wouldn't be surprised if they flip him either. And depending on whether or not Winnipeg is in the mix too, I think that's a good option there too.
Yeah, it'll certainly be interesting. And I think it's interesting what's going on in Winnipeg. But we're going to, which we will break down on Saturday. We have not completed our North Division preview, even though we're 2 weeks into this season. We did not talk about the Winnipeg Jets, but the Grit 60 podcast, who follows the Winnipeg Jets, will be joining us, and we will break down that, where the Winnipeg Jets are at. And that will be on Saturday. We will have a regular Mittens version on Sunday.
Boo.
Hey, yeah.
I'm just kidding, Mittens. I love you.
But yeah, so we'll do that as well. And so let's leave it there. How do we follow everyone?
I am BeardyConnect03 on Twitter.
Follow me on Twitter at Gordhouse09.
I am KVOLE. Heidi is Hyde Amazeballs. Schneider, SCHNEIDZ. TNOBLE is Tyler or Mittens. As I said, KVOLE, podcast_hockey, Facebook.com, YouTube.com. Subscribe on it wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks, everyone. We will talk to you very soon. Bye for now.